With the seizure of First Republic Bank by federal regulators, JPMorgan Chase has been chosen to buy most of its assets. First Republic has been sinking for weeks ever since Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank failed back in March. Its stock price had plunged from $120 a share to about $3.50.
So let's bring in CBS News contributor Javier David for more on this. He's the managing editor for business and markets at Axios and has been up since the wee hours of the morning, trying to keep track of this story.
Midnight, and then woke up at 4 a.m. because that's when they decided to issue the press release.
But of course. So let's talk about this, because this is pretty surprising to me, but probably not surprising to people who are already in the know. For people who have an account at First Republic Bank, what do they need to know right now?
They are now clients of JPMorgan.
Okay.
And that's the basic assumption here. And they're not going to lose any money because that's what the FDIC is for. All deposits have been guaranteed. Just kind of like running through the numbers. JPMorgan, according to the terms of the deal, will be absorbing about $173 billion worth of First Republic loans, $30 billion in securities, and like about $92 billion worth of deposits. So all of those deposits, basically, they're going to completely eliminate the First Republic brand. Everything that used to be First Republic will now be JPMorgan.
So how did we get here? When we were talking about Signature, when we were talking about Silicon Valley Bank, were people in sort of the corners going, and what about that bank over there?
Yeah, another one bites the dust. Yeah. Like, this is now the second largest bank failure ever, the third of the year. The third in like about less than 2 months. Yeah. Because we've been talking about this since March. It's the feeling is that it's not systemic yet, but it's very problematic. And I think that all of these sort of helter-skelter moves, like these midnight deals and marathon sessions over the weekend, are trying to firewall the banking system and prevent it from becoming systemic. But like, as each of these sort of instances come out, we kind of uncover all of these failures. We kind of uncover failures at the bank. We uncover regulatory failures. There was a great report that was just issued on Friday, kind of like a postmortem on Silicon Valley Bank.
Yes. And what do we hear?
And that highlighted that the federal regulators kind of fell asleep at the switch. They were supposed to be doing something. They sort of flagged certain things. There was no follow-up. And like, here we are with another bank. And there's more than likely that we'll uncover a bunch of new disclosures about First Republic.
What it feels like a little bit right now, because it's the third bank, is, there's a leak and you're plugging your finger in. Then another one, you're plugging your finger in. I mean, at some point, though, we may run out of larger banks that can that can absorb these sort of failing banks. Are people talking about that?
I think the big takeaway over the last several weeks is too big to fail. That was a big thing of 2008, and now we're kind of enshrining this. It's becoming, these banks are becoming too bigger to fail. Maybe we need another category to call. Like, JPMorgan is the biggest bank in the U.S., and now it's just gotten a lot bigger.
So, of course, when you think about the stability of the economy and banking and the impact, can't help but to think about the Federal Reserve. We had some, I think you could call promising numbers about the economy and inflation last time you were here. And there was a question about whether the banking industry would be more conservative in the way they lend out money, and if that could have an impact too on inflation. Because if they're not giving money to businesses, then maybe they're not going to be spending as robustly or whatever. So anyway, in the meantime, we're expecting the Fed to meet again. Of course, they're going to talk about interest rates. What's the expectation?
Right. So all of this is interconnected. So we have the Federal Reserve that is expected to meet out yet another 25 basis points in rate hikes. So there's more tightening in the pipeline. You have a Federal Reserve that's been desperate to play catch up since over the last year or so because inflation spiraled out of control. A lot of these banks are struggling to adjust. This is kind of like why we have these failures, because interest rates are going up. They're going to keep going up. The Federal Reserve has indicated they're going nowhere but up for the time being. And all of this means that, the system is trying to reset itself. But when that is happening, you're going to have these things where things get broken and things are breaking in the system.
Sometimes you got to break it before you can fix it, perhaps. I don't know. Javier David, thank you very much.
Thank you.